All right, guys, welcome back to part two of Talk That Smoke podcast here with Worlds, Keena, and Kyle. So we're gonna left over with the last topic we were talking about with the toxicity of cancel culture online. So before we left, Kyle, I know you was gonna go and say something important. So go ahead, take it away, man. It's yours.
No pressure. I hope everyone else feels it's important. I when we were talking about one of the things that we left off with was when Keena was saying that basically what happens when the public figure, whether it's a celebrity or whoever, that you might admire, be a fan of, suddenly is shown as going against your morals, your beliefs, and things like that. My thing is, so, and this is open to either of you or any of our viewers, what happens if you, do you automatically X out their content as well that you enjoy so much, whether it's the music, whether it's movies, maybe it's their, if they're an athlete, their sports achievements and things like that. Can you separate the perpetrator, the public figure, from the what they've created, their creations, their achievements, and so forth? You know what I mean? Can you separate the two? Can you just say, well, I'm just going to enjoy their music. I don't believe, I don't think the way they do. I don't share their perspective, but I still like their music. I still enjoy the movies. I still respect what they do in the athletic world or whatever the case may be. Is that something that you find difficult, or does one automatically go with the other?
I mean, I wouldn't say
Question.
difficult in a way. It really depends on the person. But for me, in my opinion, I'm wholeheartedly about unconditional love, just not unconditional approval. Right. So there's things that I could love and keep having love and respect for that person, just like different religions out here. Not that we're bashing anybody. It's just that we have that love, we have that respect, but we just don't approve of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I really agree with what you said with, hey, still listening to their music, because if they're mute, think about it. They believe something else, but and their music is something else too. So it's just like, all right, I could listen to their music, but them as a person, no. And that's going back to the Chris Brown Rihanna situation. People was like, but yo, Chris Brown is the hottest R&B singer out right now. You know what I'm saying? The situation was bad, but you know what I'm saying? Like he got talent. I don't condone that. I don't approve of what he did, but I love his music, right? So I feel like it's just about keeping that love and respect, having that unconditional love for who you look up to, what they do, but just not having that approval with what they believe in, because it contradicts what you do with you and what you believe in, your concepts.
Right.
So,
right. Okay.
Wow, that's a good question, Kyle. I think, yeah, to a certain degree though, and because it's like I mainly look at it in terms of the perspective in this day and generation, where again, I call Gen Z the softest generation I've ever been a part of, because anything that you say or do, they automatically have a backlash towards it. And I was kind of going back to Keena's point with the LGBT community, and I'll touch upon that in a little bit. But in terms of like, even after the Chris Brown situation happened, I didn't condone him doing that. He was wrong in every aspect of what he did, and I feel like he should have been faced some type of consequences, but he didn't, because he's a celebrity, whether he had probation, stuff like that. I'm talking about like jail time, because if you saw the aftermath of that, that was pretty bad. But I still listen to his music, because I'm like, listen, this guy is very talented. You're not gonna find other people like him. People were calling him the next Michael Jackson. That's how good he is, like legit. Chris Brown is a talented brother, and I'm in the mindset of, everybody makes mistakes, whether, good or bad. And I think if Rihanna could move past it and forgive him for those actions, and she was the victim of that assault, then I think we should too. If the victim is okay with forgiving, I don't know, forgetting, but mainly forgiving and moving past, then we should be as well, because it didn't happen to us. So that's my viewpoint on it, in terms of that. But yeah, I mean, this it's just like in certain cases, like, yeah, but in terms of where I kind of don't, even though if I like your music a lot, if you're like a repeat offender, so say if like you had multiple issues of domestic violence, multiple issues of like drunk driving, multiple issues of doing that. And it's like, it's kind of hard to like you because again, yeah, you make a mistake. All right, cool. You say you're sorry, you work past it, you build yourself up. Well, true fans will stick by you and will forgive you, especially if you made a legitimate, honest mistake, because again, everybody deserves a second chance. But if it's like constant, repeat, again, the same, I'm sorry, then you do the actions again, then it's just like you're just fooling us. You're giving us a runaround. You're not really sorry for what you did. You're sorry for getting caught. And so that's where I stand on that. I mainly, everybody that's did, something bad, whether they agree or disagree, I'm like, you know what? I still like his music. I'm still gonna rock with them. When Tory Lanez, the whole Tory Lanez and Meg the Stallion situation, I was like, I'm still gonna listen to Tory. I don't know why everybody's doing that. Like, that's gonna affect Tory Lanez's pockets, because clearly it didn't. You know what I mean? So it was like, I'm still gonna listen to Tory. I still think he's a dope artist. The legal system and whoever was, present in that time of the accident, they will figure it out. So that's why I stand on that. But kind of going back to your point in terms of, my point in terms of Gen Z being the softest generation, because especially with the whole LGBT situation, and I think TikTok is probably one of the most toxic apps out there. I was on it, I had to get off it. There's been videos I've seen, and the perception coming off from people who are trans, bi, etc., that it's kind of a crime now for straight people to be heterosexual. And in terms of, I'm not saying, well, oh, you don't like me, blah, blah. But it kind of comes off that way, because I seen a TikTok where somebody called a guy homophobic because he wouldn't date a trans girl. And I'm just like, how is he homophobic because he's straight? Now, I understand if he was like disrespectful and degrading you in that matter, then yeah, that's transphobic. But to just flat out say, oh, well, he doesn't want to date me because I'm a transgender, you're transphobic. It's like, no, like we've kind of, that community, this generation has made it a point to force their perspective, their persuasion onto you. So it was like, well, if I'm trans and you don't want to date me, then you're transphobic, and I'm gonna make sure everybody knows that you don't like trans people. It's like, but that doesn't make any sense. So I'm like, if I don't like chicken, if I only like a certain type of chicken, does that mean chicken phobic to other chickens out there? If I only like to date, say black girls or black girls, does that make me, raciophobic to other type of races out there? Does that make me means that I'm whiteophobic, I'm Spanishophobic? Like, what? That makes no sense. Like, I understand in terms of being respectful, like if you don't like a certain race or gender, or want to date, not say like, but if you don't want to date a specific certain race or gender where that's not your preference, then yeah, just like, listen, I just don't like you because of so. But if you're making it a point to attack them because of what they don't like, then you're just coming off as bitter. It's like, bro, what are we doing? Like, we're attacking people for having choices, and it comes across of them becoming a crime for you being straight. And I'm just like, this is where this generation is heading. Wow, I don't want nothing to do with this. What are you guys' thoughts on
that? For me, I think about it. The LGBT community, going back into history, that wasn't even thought of. Like, you were definitely condemned. You were definitely, disciplined and censored for being that way.
In some cases, you were killed.
Right,
yeah,
killed.
Yeah, true,
right,
yeah.
Killed. And even to this day, there is some people that are still assassinated, killed, murdered because of who they are. And, going back to history itself, think about, the world is literally changing. There's more and more people coming out now, and it's a good thing. And I really feel like, because one is more comfortable, they feel like they're more comfortable to live in this era, live in this, time where it's more accepted than what it was. But, going a little personal on my side, I have a mom that have a wife right now. I mean, obviously I'm here, so it wasn't always like that, but it going back to that unconditional love, but not unconditional approval for some people, I would say. So, hey, at a time when my mom came to me and was like, she's thinking she's heading that way, and everything like that, having that talk, I said, hey mom, I still love and respect you at the end of the day. That is your life. And this is what people have to understand, is that it's not about you. It's not your life. So why do you care so much? Right? It's not paying your bills. It's not putting food on the table. So why are you honestly giving a damn about who is living a certain lifestyle? Like, that's how I really thought about it. You know what I'm saying? So that is just the general, how I feel like the general aspect of what it should be like. Just don't care and do your own thing. Like, again, be a reflection of yourself. Stop worrying about everybody else. Right? So
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
First of all, Worlds, if you saw me chuckle a little bit, it wasn't because of what you were saying. It was the fact that you were able to tack the word phobic on
Of
everything that you
everything.
were saying. I thought it was really creative. But I feel like it's not just, I mean, you know, we can get back to the whole social media thing again, and there's the sense of the distance and the impersonal or disconnect between you and the person you're targeting online. It makes it so easy for people to pass judgment quickly and really feel liberated to say whatever they want to say, whatever comes to mind, without really thinking, without taking a beat and really thinking through what they want to say, how they want to say it, or if they should say anything at all. So I think that is really at the root of all of that, the criticism and the hate and the vitriol, but you know, yeah, when you make a decision, a personal decision, people want to amplify that in a negative light or put it in a negative light because it goes against what you feel, or because you are hurt for some reason, you know. So anyone that takes it personally will say, oh, you know what, I'm not just going to talk to my friends about this, I'm going to just put it out online. You know, now because I really want to I want to humiliate this person and publicly, you know, and that's really what the problem is, you know, in my opinion.
Yeah, true. And you know, once you put something out there on social media, it's pretty much there forever. So you gotta double think twice before you hit send. Like if you really feel strongly about something or feel like you were intact in your own way and you want to maybe, you know, go in there and defend yourself, then of course that's all, by all means do that. But just in terms of, like you said, doing it in a vindictive way because that person didn't have the same viewpoints at you, and you're going to take time out of your day when that person probably has a whole busy schedule, you're going to take time out of your day to make an effort to attack them, all because you guys have different viewpoints. And it's becoming, which each topic, and again, I don't want to go too deep into it because I want to talk about the next one, but like, you know, me and Kyle, we talked about in the first episode, you know, the whole differences in the COVID vaccine mandates and what people think about it. Oh, well, you should get vaccinated. Oh, you shouldn't get vaccinated. Like, when has people's personal health choice become such a political topic? Like, it's like, if you don't want to get a shot that you feel there's no need for you, don't get it. Why is it other people's concern? Like, CNN went out and was like, do you think LeBron James is vaccinated? Why the hell is that your business? Do you ask LeBron if he took his measles shots, if he took his hepatitis shots, if he took his meningitis shots? Do you worry about what LeBron eats for breakfast before he goes to workouts, before he goes to practice? Like, no. What? And I saw that and I'm just like, wow, this is some real dumb shit. They're really debating about a man's personal private health information. And it's like, same thing, and that's translating to sports too, because I was watching Undisputed. I'm very big on debate, so as Kyle, you know, First Take, Undisputed, The Herd, and then, you know, there was a story that came out where Cam Newton was going to miss a couple of days because of quote unquote misunderstanding of the testing protocols, where apparently he got tested for COVID and it was negative, but he didn't do it in the facility. I don't really know too much about it, but then I see Colin Kyle was like, well, Colin Coward was, well, you know, hey, you know, why you just should get the vaccine? I don't know why he's not vaccinated. He's hurting his team. I'm like, that's none of your business. Like, yeah, your job is to talk about sports, but you diving into and exposing and putting a man's, you know, status out. Why are we doing that?
Right.
At the end of the day, I feel like their job should be stick to the sports. Like, okay, yeah, he's gonna miss this time because of this situation. But they made it a whole segment about should he get vaccinated or not. Same thing with Skip and Shannon. I'm just like, why? Like, you never talk about a man's health information before? Why are you putting out this to like attack him because he choose not to get something that he feels and is on his own benefit? You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, Kyle,
Yeah.
you want to say something? Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, kind of touch on something real quick. I'm gonna be real. I'm gonna be real. You already know me. I'm hot.
Talk
I'm
that smoke.
humble.
Come on, man.
I'm
We
humble,
always
open,
real.
and transparent. I'm a hot. Got to put that acronym out there. Got to put that, hot. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to say, bro, like, think about it. This mask mandate, right? And I learned this, and I just was thinking about it, and I'm just like, people got to put in perspective that, yeah, we're wearing a mask, but did you know there was a mask mandate before the whole COVID happened? And think about it. Wait, I'm making you think real quick. Because we don't act like some people don't wake up in the morning and be like, all right, let me go to today. Let me face the day today and put on their own mask to go up out in the world. So why y'all worried about wearing a mask with COVID when there's a whole mask mandate already, when people are going out and putting on a whole mask to hide themselves? Right? So it just was like a thing for me. And I want people to put that in perspective. The viewers listening to this right now is just like, back to talk about you. Look at you. And don't act like you don't wake up in the morning sometimes and try to make it seem like, you know what, the wife is good. Make it seem like the kids are good. Makes it like you're good. But you can't heal what you won't reveal at the end of the day. So it's just like this whole COVID thing and the mask thing. And it's just like, I'm putting people into perspective, like, stop thinking about this and start thinking about this. Like, it's bigger than the mask of hiding a disease, more of the mask that you're hiding over your life that can cause a disease. So I just feel like that's what I have to say about that. Cause it's just like, it's just not going away. Just like the flu, like you said, hepatitis, measles, whatever, it doesn't go away. So what's different? Right. So
yeah,
I can't follow that.
Yeah, that I can't follow. That's actually a very, very good analogy, Kina. I swear you have to been like a preacher or something.
I'm a preacher.
I think so. You have to be.
Facts, man. Speaking facts, being real.
Facts. That's all you do is spit facts. You know what I'm saying? All right. So let's go over to the next topic here on today's podcast. So, should labels release or not release artists' albums after they pass? And before I go, everybody who knows me knows I'm probably the biggest Pop Smoke fan out there. And everybody shaking is like, yeah.
Yes.
And I'll give a little backstory why I'm such a fan of his, because again, homegrown. Okay, he's from Brooklyn. Okay, I'm from Brooklyn as well. I live out on Long Island, but he's from Canard City. They call it Flossy Nosy, as people in Brooklyn know that. But just seeing what he did in such a short time span, and him, dying so young because of gun violence at age 20. I didn't even know he was 20 until like I think his second album came out, which was Meet the Woo 2. And I'm like, this motherfucker 20. He sounded like he almost 30 years old. I was like, damn. And before he passed, he had 3 albums, and I'm not counting the last one that came out because that one was trash. We'll talk about that. But before he passed, he had 3 albums done and did a movie, and he was 20 years old. And the reason why I'm such a big fan of him is because the work ethic you have to have at such a young age, and definitely he came from a troubled background, selling drugs. He, in and out of school. He got kicked out of, he had a full scholarship to school in PA to play basketball. He got kicked out, selling drugs. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go into this rap game, and look how fast he's risen in a 2-year time span. And I was just like, wow, like I'm 24 and this guy who's 4 years younger than me is my idol. Well, now actually he would have been 22 this year, but at the time he passed, he was 20. Now I'm just like, damn. And his music, like there was not one song I skipped. Like I listened to Meet the Woo 1, Meet the Woo 2, and his last album, I don't count the new one that came out, the Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, the one that 50 Cent executive produced. I'm just like, holy shit, you want to talk about a potential. I was like, and again, he did all this in 2 years on top of that, making the movie. Wow. And I was like, I want to take on his mindset and the type of drive that he had. A lot of people talk about doing things and it's like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to make it big. But he actually put it into place, and how fast he did it, and the progression as a young man. And the main thing that I was like, I was really sad when he died, because I'm like, we'll never see the man that he will become, because when you're 20, you're not even legally enough to drink alcohol. And it was just, his death was just so sudden, and it was really because of, I don't care what the LAPD says. I could say this with full, conviction, because I am somewhat connected to the Pop Smoke entourage. My cousin, was in that entourage. I've heard plenty of his unreleased songs. I have them on my phone, but it wasn't, robbers who came. It was a hit. Okay. And for people to be selfish of a man putting in the work to get to where he was at such a young age, not only doing it for himself, but doing it for his friends. He wanted everybody around him to win. Like, he was looking after his friends. He was going to be one to send his friends to music school, pay for them, wanted to get his mom out the hood. You know what I mean? And, even him and his real brother, Obasi, didn't have the best relationship. He still looked after his brother too. And it's like, wow, like this, it just really breaks my heart that, somebody at a young age that has so much potential just lost their life because of envy and jealousy, because he put in the time and the work and somebody else just didn't want to see him win. It's like, okay, I'm going to take your life, and, yeah, I'm going to try to steal your spotlight. Like, it's just fucked up. So, but that's just a brief story why I'm such a big Pop Smoke fan. I think, honestly, legit, I think he would have been the best Brooklyn rapper of all time coming out. Like, you would give him 10 years, he would have been bigger than Biggie. Like, just the drive, the motivation he had, no doubt he would have been the best Brooklyn rapper of all time coming out. I don't care what nobody says. Just, and it sucks. That's why I'm not gonna cry or anything, because we're not gonna cry, but it just sucks that somebody that's so young, has so much potential, just got his life taken away because of jealousy and greed. But going into, like, should artists' estates release albums after they pass? Obviously, Faith had mixed reviews. I listened to Faith. I made a reaction video of it, but had a whole bunch of uploading issues. But I didn't like. I always say I didn't like Faith. I liked a couple songs out the album. My main thing was that off of the songs that I heard, the unreleased songs and some of them that weren't finished, his label, Steven Victor, changed the whole shit around. And I think that he completely botched the album. And now that there's rumors coming around saying that, oh, well, he used up all of his songs in the vault because he made songs with other artists. I know for a fact he made about 40 songs with Quavo. I think I could trust my sources saying that him and Quavo have about 40 songs. I think probably like 30 something left in the vault. They said Quavo is gonna try to finish that sometime in the future. We don't know if that's gonna come out. And he made other songs too with Polo G and I think Pooh Shiesty. But my thing is that why fix something that didn't need to be broken? And it's like, well, I don't know if his family gave the okay to do it, but what do you guys think? Should labels, still make release rappers unreleased songs or posthumous albums once they pass? Because I feel like with this one, it didn't deliver with the last album that he didn't get a chance to finish Shoot for the Stars, Aim for the Moon, with 50 Cent finished. And it was probably one of the best albums in the last 5 years. Just, it was really well produced. But what do you guys think on that? Because I'm rambling. Who wants to go first? Kyle, Keena, Kyle.
Yeah, I'll go first. How I feel about that, and I was kind of giving World a little sneak peek. I like to talk, y'all. I like to talk about what I what I think about a situation. I started to tell Worlds my answer. He's like, hold on, save it for the podcast. I'm like, all right, I got you. But no, like Juice WRLD said, man, and it's really crazy. Like, we really don't make it past 21. Look at X. Look at Pop Smoke. Look at Juice WRLD himself. Like, it's just like these amazing rappers that could have been so good, could have been legends in the making, and they don't live past 21. Like, it's crazy. I'm 20 years old and I can't imagine myself, and I have so much plans, so much future, so much vision in myself that, this is not the pit stop. This is just the beginning. And that was for them. It was just the beginning. And what I want to say about that, answer your question, World, is not get a little bit off topic, but I really feel like, whoever, releases the songs or whatever, I feel like they're just selfish, because Pop Smoke had a developing legacy. Every artist has a developing legacy. And I feel like music should be released. Just how, average, some people put albums, just how Drake and Kanye are releasing album, Pop Smoke should still be releasing albums, regardless if he's in the grave or not. Because he has a legacy fulfilled. When a legacy is even when I'm in the grave, I have generations and generations and generations to come that because of what I did, they're set. Because of what I'm saying, that they have a foundation in themselves that they can create their own legacy and pass on my legacy continuously. So I still feel like, yes, I really feel like the industry should keep releasing these music as if these people were alive to keep that legacy. You know what I'm saying? And really build on that. So they need to stop being selfish for real, because they're hiding talent. And because the talent, what I want to say, the talent doesn't have to die with the artist. It doesn't have to. And people are being, like I said, selfish and keeping it to themselves, something that could be revealed. So that's what I think about that.
I'm kind of split on this. I'm divided only because, and I'll explain, because on one hand, yes, if there's material that is there, I think it depends on what the intentions were with the songs, because let's be honest, not every artist who releases music posthumously is releasing their best work. Some people could argue there's a reason why that song didn't make it on the albums that were released when they were alive. Some people would argue, and there's proof in some cases these songs weren't completed. So now you have people who are completing material in some cases where the artists themselves are not involved in that process. So now you're putting your own influence, your own perspective into this, and you're creating something, you're finishing something that was not really your full responsibility or your sole responsibility. You know what I mean? So now this artist doesn't have the final say on what was there. Maybe they wouldn't approve of this particular track or that track, or maybe they wouldn't approve of the project at all. You know what I mean? There's some really good stuff. If he was in the process of saying, oh, I love all of this, I can't put it all on this album, but this is definitely my next project. I have enough material. I feel really good about all of these songs, and I think I've got my next 3 albums ready with what I have in the wings. Then that's one thing. But if you've got we've heard material released from various artists where vocal enhancement was involved only because they couldn't finish it, or the vocal track wasn't right. We've heard situations where there were collaborations and guest appearances because they wanted to make it that much better. They wanted to bring attention to it and things like that, instead of letting it stand alone as its own project under the original artist. And we've heard situations where things were kind of pieced together, all for the sake of, so sometimes it's a money grab for the label, talking about fulfilling contractual obligations that the artist had. Sometimes it is, under the approval of the artist's family. So it really depends on the circumstances. You know what I mean? You're disappointed with this last album, and that is, that's probably because maybe this was not the way he really intended it to come about. You know what I mean? When you've got other people's, opinions and input and hands in the mix. So, again, I'm divided on that. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I want to just say that's a great point. That is an amazing point that you just said. And I kind of want to just add on to what I was saying too, because I don't mean to say like make their own song, you know what I'm saying, but at least can provide the public with snippets of what was yet to come. Don't touch it, but at least provide, to us what was already in the mix. What was he looking to say? There's something in the song that could touch a lot of people, even if it's just a minute. You know what I'm saying? So I really, really like that point you said about people changing it up because it's not the authenticity of the artist. That is an amazing point. I really like that.
Yeah. And I feel like you said, Kyle, in terms of if an artist said, you know what, I don't know, like not many young artists have their already, life insurance or estate planned out. But if you look at Mac Miller's case, where his family finished his posthumous album, I would think that his family, who have been around him for as long as he's been alive, would kind of get a good idea of what he likes, what he doesn't like. So I'm okay with the family member, families having involvement and input in what should go into the album and what should go out to the album once you pass away, because they are the closest thing to your mindset, what you like, what you don't like. You know what I mean? And so that's why I feel like, okay, if the family gives it the okay, they will be the next closest thing to what the artist would, feel the artist will like, what he doesn't like, stuff like that, or he or she, and there was a couple of artists that came up with like successful posthumous album, like Biggie, Life After Death. I think that came up 2 weeks after he was shot. I mean, the album was most likely completed, but it was like, you know what, this is already done. We don't really have to touch anything about it. Let's just put it out there for people to continue his legacy and to enjoy. And that's probably one of Biggie's best albums right now. I believe, like you said, XXXTentacion, I believe, he had close friends and family to help. I think he came up with 2 posthumous albums, if I'm not correct, after he died. I think he came up with 2, but he had friends and family involved. I think they were both pretty decent, even Easy A too. Obviously, that came out a while after he died, but I'm pretty sure he had, Dr. Dre, input, because it's like, okay, Dr. Dre produced, a couple of his tracks that went hit. So he's like, okay, I kind of figure out a sound what he likes. But in terms of like, with just mainly just this Pop Smoke album, because mainly the reason why I'm like so upset about it is because, like I said, I listened to the leaks, even some of the songs that weren't finished. And what they did was, he's like, okay, the songs that are not done, or the songs that were done, they're gonna cut it. They cut out the rest of the part of the lyrics, added unnecessary features in. So they had a whole bunch of scraps that they threw away that they didn't need to. And then the finished stuff, like I said, yeah, the stuff that was finished, so they cut out the other verse, and then they put in a whole bunch of features just to make it seem like, oh, well, Pop Smoke knew Rick Ross. Oh, Pop Smoke was cool with Chris Brown. Pop Smoke was cool with Dua Lipa. Like, yeah, he was cool with them, but he's not the type of artist that would have done features, because he likes to stick to the Brooklyn drill beat. Now, obviously, he was expanding outside his realm, and to go doing some more love songs and stuff like that, just to show like, look, I'm not a one-sided artist. I could do X, Y, and Z. And it's like, why would you do that? Because that's what fans were attached to. So you did all that unnecessary change, like you said, just to put your own influence on it. Because like, well, I think he will like this. Like, well, the fans say otherwise. You got to listen to what the fans say. Because if the family didn't have any type of approval power to say, okay, yeah, we want this and that to be an album, then it's like, okay, you got to put up to the fans. It's like, all right, we're thinking about making another posthumous album. We have enough material in the vault. What would you guys like to hear? And put out snippets of it. And it's like, if the stuff that were unfinished, you could have added a feature. Him and Quavo were like boys. Quavo would have probably finished the rest of the album himself. It was like, yeah, I'll put a feature this and that. You know what I mean? With the rest of the Mingos crew. So it was like, I feel like there was just they did unnecessary changes. Like you said, put their own vision onto it. Think that that's what he liked. And then you see the backlash, it get mixed reviews. Now people's like, well, Worlds, the album is #1 on Apple Music. Yeah, because of the name. You see everywhere you look at the reviews of the album, it's mixed. People are giving it 1 out of 5 stars, 2 out of 5 stars. But the reason why it's #1 because of the name that he built, because he already built the legend. So people are gonna support this man because he's no longer here. But he's like, yo, he did 3 great albums while he was here. This one was not his best work, but it's not his fault because he's not here. He didn't have a final say. He didn't have any type of discussions. I want this and I'll take this out. So it's like, yeah, we're going to support and listen to it because of the name that's attached, but we don't like the project, the completion of the project itself.
Right.
I definitely agree. With a lot what you just said, Worlds, and I want to touch on just like the industry itself. It's all about clout. Let's go. Can we go back to that clout? Like clout, man. Like look at all the album with the 50 Cent where he executively produced the album that came out with Aim for the Moon. Like yeah. That was an amazing album. But look what's real. Look how many features and look how many famous upstarting rappers were on there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The industry puts that out there, like to really just put that on. Not saying like it's clout, like, oh, it was a bad album, because the album is fire. You know, it was fire. So it's just like, that's what the industry does, just put like these big names onto this album and just make it big. so fans can like cater to it more. But to be honest, a lot of people, even me, and I'm a victim to it as well, just like I didn't really know Pop Smoke before he passed away. Like, let's be real, I didn't really know him like that until that album Infinite Loop came out. I'm like, oh shoot, like you know what I'm saying? I seen some videos, I've seen celebrities flick up with him and he started coming up, but I didn't really listen to like some of his songs, but I was like, oh, this album is fire. But it's just like I never knew the guy, you know. So there's also people like that too. So, and I'm victim it too as well. I'm not gonna sit here and say I knew Post Malone. You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't. You know, it really was probably the album before a little bit of songs, but it really was that Aim for the Moon album for sure. But just keeping it a bug though, the industry is always just about really just keeping money flowing in. You know, keeping the name for itself and just keeping rap alive. I would say so. That's basically the point.
And with that, oh, go ahead, Carl. My bad.
I'm sorry. I just want to say this, and this is not to say that, you know, Pop Smoke didn't deserve his flowers and things like that, whatever, his accolades. But someone once said to me, and not only this, but you've seen throughout history in terms of music. Someone once said to me about a rapper whose album got, was successful after he died. Said, well, and of course it was because he died. And what he meant by that was, and we see all the time, someone dies and their album or their catalog suddenly skyrockets. Suddenly everything is on the radio, everything is on the charts again, you know. Albums that were old albums, you know, brand new album, anticipated, whatever, because for some reason there's this strange, I don't want to call it a morbid sense of, you know, perspective, but when someone dies, there's this tendency, this impulse to want to go get their stuff. Like, oh my God, they're dead. Let me go buy this music and buy this album. Let me go see this movie. You know what I mean? And so pretty much anyone, not going to say anyone, but a lot, quite often, when someone, regardless of the quality, regardless of how you feel about the material versus, you know, as compared to what they had done before they had died, it's going to be a success at least in a couple of weeks afterwards because they're dead. And it's a weird thing, but it happens all the time, over and over and over. And again, books, movies, music, people have this thing where it's like, I've got to get this because this person is no longer with us.
Yeah, that's actually a really great point. I'm glad that you brought that. I think also to add to that what you said, I think it's also the fact that like we're never gonna see this person anymore. So you kind of go back and cherish the memories of the great stuff that they did. Like if somebody close to us dies, like the first thing we look at old pictures of us with that person. Is like, damn, like you cherish the times that we had because you'll never be able to get that back ever again. You know, so it's like, oh, damn, I wish I could have done this or I wish I could have done that. So I feel like that's another reason why people do that. Obviously, like you said, you know, I think majority of it is like fake love. It's like, oh, now I'm going to go listen to this. But you never listened to that guy when he was out for 5 years. Now all of a sudden he's no longer here. You're his biggest fan. You know, same thing when Nipsey Hussle died. His song skyrocketed. Right. Same thing happened to DMX after he died. You know, Rough Riders and X Gonna Give It To You skyrocketed. It's like, damn, I didn't know DMX had all these fans. You know, I guess most of them are just like, all right, you know, we're going to, as a way of tribute, we're going to listen to his best work. We're going to rock with him now he's died just to pay our respects to him and the legacy that he left. But the other part is like, you know, I'm just a fake fan now that he's no longer dead. It's like, don't do that. You're like, come on.
For those people, in some cases, it's like a collector's item. It becomes like a thing, like a trophy. Yeah. Like, oh, I got to get this because it's the last.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Yeah, true. So yeah, that's where I stand on that. I just think, oh, go ahead, Keena.
No, I was saying that's very true. Facts. I was just saying facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah, I was just gonna say last thing I'll say on that. Like if the family members get like, you know, power authorities, yeah, we'll make it, you know, if there's enough material in the vault and they want to do it, by all means. But I feel like it shouldn't be left up to the label, especially if they're like money hungry people like Steven Victor is. I don't want to, you know, cuss the man out on here, but he is a money hungry motherfucker. I can confirm that.
I don't want to curse him out, but yeah,
He
I
is
will.
money. I mean, there's a lot I
Call
can
him
say
that.
about that.
Just end it on.
He's just money hungry. But it's just like, damn. Now they're saying he doesn't have little to no music left in the vault because he just emptied out the whole thing. Like, how you came up with an album with 20 something songs and then 2 deluxe albums after that and added a total, I think, 8 new songs. Why? There was no, and so I'm not good at math, but in that time span, you released about close to 15 some songs. Why was the need to do that? If he didn't have that much in the vault to begin with, which I from what I know, I believe he had 400 unreleased songs, but not all of them were completed. I believe about like 150 was done, but remember they were like features with other artists, so they took their parts. All right, we're gonna cut it. I'm gonna release it on my album. I think Polo G Clueless, which was supposed to be called Woo Shit with Fabio Foreign, Polo G put that on his album and it was like, I don't want Steven Victor messing with this. But it's like if he had like maybe 70 completed songs left in the vault that were unreleased, why release like 50 of them? It makes no sense. You could have spread it out like, okay, we're gonna try to keep his legacy alive as long as we can. If we decide to come up with a posthumous album, get the approval of the family, we'll do 10 here, wait like a year and a half, 2 years, then come up with another 10. It's like, okay, we got 30 songs left in the vault. We're gonna wait a couple more years, play his old like classic throwbacks, then play another 10. It's just like you just dumped the whole thing. I was like, oh damn, we have no more songs left in the vault. No, I don't know how we're gonna carry his legacy now on because you emptied out all the shit that he had completed the time he was here. So it made no sense to me why they did that. That's my last opinion on that.
Right.
I feel like there should be like some songs that artists need to really think about, especially artists that really are deep in hoods and deep in like gang activity and stuff like that. Really think about like, listen, if I was to pass away, keep this to the side. Let me make some music just to like keep, bro. Don't release this. This is something like this is like emergency vault. Like if this need be, release it and let my people know, let my legacy be known and stuff like that. And I really think I don't know if they do it now, but I'm just saying like that would be a very good idea to really think about with all artists is all in the music industry and just to keep their legacy alive and stuff like that. So
Well, and there are some cases where contracts include language like that, which is interesting that you bring that up. But Anderson .Paak just posted a picture that said basically, if I die, don't release any of the stuff.
Yeah.
That's so I don't know whether that was like whether it was kind of being facetious, but it was an interesting point that he was making with that.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess we'll all have like agreement, but have our own different perspective of it. All right, guys, that's it for episode 2 of Talk That Smoke podcast. I'm Worlds. This has been Kyle, and thanks to our special guest of today's episode, Keena, for stopping by. Appreciate you as always showing love and support. All right, guys, stay safe, stay blessed. Go ahead, Keena. Last words before we sign off.
Yeah, just last words, guys. I just wanted to say thank you, Worlds. Thank you, Kyle. Nice to meet you, Kyle. We're actually having some words of, knowing each other. And I was just telling him like strangers celebrate you, your family don't. And I come from a really background that strangers really do celebrate me more than my family. And I just want to appreciate you guys for giving me the opportunity to speak. I want to be a public speaker one day, just putting that out there, really help people, elevate people mentally, spiritually, and financially. And I'm really, 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 really excited and grateful. So much gratitude that I'm able to come on here because I tell Worlds this all the time, bro. Like affirmation, speaking things to existence, and like really knowing who you're going to become is so essential. I tell him, bro, you're going to have 1 million subscribers on YouTube. I tell him this Talk That Smoke, I'm going to promote it like no other because at the end of the day, we have to know that somebody starts somewhere. People want to say it's an overnight success, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't. So, I want to just say that, like I said, guys, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Keena Slays, KenaSlays. I am a digital entrepreneur as well. So you guys can check out my content. I love to give value to other, entrepreneurs out there looking to elevate themselves as well. So thank you again for having me, guys. I hope to be on the next episode, maybe like, future wise and come back and do a redo, hey, you know.
No
Please
doubt.
come back because amen to that. But please come back because we definitely need your energy here. Great.
Yeah,
Of
no
course.
doubt. No doubt, no doubt. We definitely gonna have you back on for future episodes. That's no doubt about it. All right, guys. Thank you as always. Another great successful episode. We'll be back here with episode 3 sometime in the near future. Stay tuned.